Okay. Hello everyone. Welcome. My name is Cyber Ninja. This is another speed run of Murdered Soul Suspect. I should have my very first speed run up and one of my PBs by now. Hopefully, I don't know if this world records just is going up right away. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So this is Murdered Soul Suspect. I'm going to be doing a speed run on it. This is going to be any percent category, meaning beating the game as fast as possible. Right off the bat, you'll see the splits and stuff on the left side corner. This is just for the people that aren't familiar with speedruns. The times that I have are going to be... I'm going to PB in this run no matter what, because I've learned a lot of tricks. There's 2 force quits to skip cutscenes, and then there's one actual glitch, one major glitch that will speed this run up a fair bit. And then also on top of that, the timing starts after the intro cutscene. So all of that will make me PB no matter what. So we're going to attempt a speed run here. We're going to see what time I get, and we're going to go from there. So let's go ahead and start the game. And like I said, the timer won't start until the main cutscene's over. Now, I don't want to admit this, but I will. I was doing a run of this before, and I was trying to get... I was trying to get a PB with all this new tech, but unfortunately, I had my reset button to Alt, my right Alt actually, because I never used that. But unfortunately, it doesn't distinguish between right and left Alt, so I went and hit Alt Tab to quit out the game for the first force quit, and I reset it. So that was fun. It's 11:48 at night.
Grow up on the streets.
I gotta work at like 9 in the morning tomorrow. I probably should be in bed, but I want to get this done.
Nothing can touch you. You never really lose.
The thing that sucks about this game the most
Go to arrest
is
freak. Find out you aren't as invincible as you thought.
this 3-minute intro cutscene. If this 3-minute intro cutscene wasn't a thing, this game would probably be run by a lot more people that are familiar with it.
Time to make it official.
It hurts.
But, yeah, well.
You steal my car?
I mean, OOT is like a really, really famous speedrun game, and it has a pretty long intro cutscene, so I'm sure if they can sit through that, we can sit through this. This game, however, does have a bunch of unskippable cutscenes. There's only 2 in the world record attempt, or rather the world record run, that are skipped, and I think they're really the only 2 that can be skipped. I'm going to try to talk about that more when we get there, and talk about more prevalent things when we get there too.
Let me take it.
I'll try to explain
Can't have my sister marrying some bum, right?
explain myself as best as possible as I'm doing everything, for both the people that are familiar with this speedrun and for the people that aren't.
No.
Also, I have my oh my goodness. I have my attempt counter on screen there, to the right of any percent. It's not necessarily accurate. If I have to say, this was probably only my 7th or 8th attempt. The reason it's so high is because I was trying to get familiar with the timer here and trying to figure certain things out. So I could manually reset it back, but I actually don't know what attempt this is now, and I don't really care. I was thinking about just taking it off screen altogether, and I probably will too. Probably do that after this run. But yeah, so the world record attempt for this is 55 minutes and 4 seconds. As you can see right now on screen, my best run has been 1 hour, 8 minutes, 1 second, and my sum of best, meaning the best possible time I can get if I did everything perfectly according to all my splits and stuff, is 106.22. So this is where I start timing right here, because this is pretty much when the cutscene ends and you kind of gain control of the character. There's like a second or 2 delay before you actually gain control, but it's just easier and more consistent for me if I start the timing there, and I believe that's pretty much where the timing is starting from anyways. So I know it's after the intro cutscene. It's not very clear to me. I did look around a little bit and I couldn't really see what said what.
Knob ain't even moving.
So right now it's just about optimizing, hitting E as quick as possible to get the door open, and then right click on the mouse actually skips certain cutscenes. So all the non-major cutscenes in the game can be skipped by just clicking right on the mouse. So after a certain point. Now this is probably the one thing that either makes or breaks this first segment for me, is trying to get back in my body. Usually it's just the hand, but sometimes I'll overshoot something. That was actually really clean and crisp. So everything but the hand was good there, and the hand was actually better than most of my attempts. So now I get frame rate lag here no matter what, whether I look at her or not. I try to look down and just run. That way I don't get lag.
I can't believe
And I don't lose frames and stuff, but unfortunately it just doesn't work out like that for me.
I thought I'd never see you again.
So if I'd start timing from the moment I'd hit
Better.
yes on if I wanted to save when new game, I'd be up to like 4 minutes now. Because like I said, that intro cutscene's 3 minutes long. It's like 3 minutes, 3 seconds or something like that.
For us to be together again.
Maybe it's longer than that, but it's definitely 3 minutes.
No. Oh, no, not again. Not you.
So this first split here, you are dead. It's from the moment I start, well, the moment I start timing to the moment I go into the apartments. And there's really no optimization you can do here. The only real time gain or loss would be getting into the body. That's the only one that really I could screw up on. The only other part that you could potentially, well, there's a couple parts you could screw up on. There's that. There's running when you first, right after this, after the next cutscene, when I gain control of Ronan again and I start moving them, I could lose time if I don't correctly move through the doors, because sometimes doors are hard. But besides that, the only other time loss that could be taken here is during the quote-unquote first case when you're investigating your own death, depending on my movement and my key presses and stuff.
No, Julia! Don't leave me, Julia!
Now if I come correct and do it all correctly, then I should be fine.
Hello? There's a man in the street outside.
Right here, it's just another instance of mashing E as quick as possible so that I can get the interaction off from both trying to talk to the man and the woman, and then mashing the right click on my mouse to skip the cutscene as soon as possible.
Hey, man.
So ideally, you only see E on the screen for about a moment while I'm doing this. Pretty good.
Please.
And I want to mash this to skip this cutscene. Now that first door is one of the parts I was talking about. You can get stuck there, and then you can get stuck up ahead too. In this part, if you're too far over, you can get stuck on the wood and it just becomes a disaster then. So up ahead is our first actual dialogue with a character. So right there, if you mash the talking option as you're mashing skip cutscene, sometimes you can get it on like the same frame and you just skip from cutscene to cutscene. Unfortunately with Abigail, I find it extremely inconsistent. It's rare that I actually get it. You'll see when we get to my Take Me Back to Church split, which is when we reach the church and we're talking to Joy, that it's actually really consistent with her, and that I'll just chain cutscene from cutscene, skipping them all. Even with Baxter later on in Don't Judge Me, you'll see the same thing too. He's fairly consistent with chaining cutscene skips. So this is another unskippable cutscene. So like I mentioned earlier, there is a force quit-out which will allow you to skip cutscenes. Unfortunately though, my best understanding to it is if you force quit a cutscene, it puts you back to the last loading zone. And unfortunately, the reason why it's not prevalent to do it in most of the areas is because most of the areas, the loading zone is at the end of the cutscene, so really you don't save any time. The only exceptions to that is Jailbreak when we enter the police station, because when you enter the police station is when the loading zone hits. So then the entire cutscene after that is actually when
Who needs backup?
is when you're in the PlayStation. Now, if you do it too fast, it does throw you all the way back. I like to wait until Ronan says the first word and then I force quit, because it's usually, I find it extremely consistent. I think it's worked every time for me so far, but I have done it too fast to where I've force quit and then reload, and it actually puts me back at the church, just outside the church, because it didn't load the loading zone. The only other area that it's that it's prevalent in is commitment issues when you get to the mental hospital, because when you force quit there, again,
Pay your specs and move on.
it's the loading zone. So the loading zone starts, he starts talking, Ronan, and that's, you're already in the hospital technically. So when you force quit and you come back in, you're actually already in the hospital. I think it's possible to do it too quick there too. But again, I wait for Ronan to say the first word, and then I force quit and reload the game.
Captain's orders here. You know
And usually that's pretty consistent for me. It does manage to save some time. It probably doesn't save as much time for me as it should, just because I don't have the best PC here. I really should do some upgrades. And if I did, I would probably be running the game as smooth as possible. And then for my load times, like when I load up the game again, it'd probably be super fast, which would be nice.
You do me a favor, con man.
But oh well. But yeah, I tried doing the force quit on Graveyard Shift, which is the cemetery,
She knows, right?
to skip the opening cemetery cutscene, because that's super long. But that's one of the instances where he actually doesn't enter the cemetery until the end of the cutscene. Church 2, I believe it's the same thing. I'll have to do some more testing with it off screen, but I don't think he enters the church till after the cutscene, or till the end of the cutscene.
I saw him. He killed that man in the street.
Museum is a short one. The judge one, I think, is the same thing,
It'd be nice
where
to know what they're
he
talking
doesn't
about.
enter the house until the end of the cutscene.
I gotta see if they found any leads that I don't already know about.
So really, it's just not worth it. Now I'm going to focus here for a second.
Gotta tell me.
Yeah, I saw it.
Just to do that as quick as possible. So there you go. I saved 3 minutes and 24 seconds on that segment alone. But really, it's pretty much all from the intro cutscene. Like I said, the intro cutscene is like a 3-minute long cutscene, so. Now, Apartments is a really short segment, and it's really easy, but it has the only mandatory QuickTime event in the game, and for whatever reason, I kind of struggle with the QuickTime events on the keyboard. So if I fuck it up,
They can probably hear you.
don't be surprised. Hopefully I don't. But I don't know why, because I'm actually familiar with all the keys on the keyboard. Like, I do know where like all the keys are. Half my keys on my keyboard don't even have a letter on it anymore because it's that worn. And when I'm typing, I do still know where to type, just because I've taken typing classes in high school, so I'm pretty familiar with where the keys are on the keyboard. That was actually good. I got an easy one there. It's usually only when they give me D that I find it hard to exercise the demon for whatever reason.
Okay, folks.
So pretty much here, it's just about optimizing movement. Damn, I was too close there, so... searching purposefully. Those are always random, the location of the words and the jumble of the words and all that. I got decent luck, I just went the wrong way, unfortunately. Hiding, she's, frightened and watching. I almost screwed that up. If you screw up, one of these, it does waste a fair bit of time, just because it goes through an animation of telling you it's wrong, and then it boots you out of it, and then you have to re-enter, and
So that's right.
it's a whole ordeal. should still save time here, but I'm not going to save a whole hell of a lot of time. My PB is actually pretty good here. It's pretty consistent, pretty fast.
Out the window.
The only thing I can tell you is that you can actually leave through that window. You can get out of that window pretty quick. The prompt for the window, the prompt for the pop-up of the window actually doesn't appear for like seconds later, like 20-30 seconds even maybe. You can actually just mash E and get it as soon as like it's physically possible to leave. So there I have I'm actually +2 seconds ahead on my my best, because like I said, my apartment split is actually really optimized, so I'm still ahead overall for my speed run. That's why it shows green there. I'm 3 minutes and 24 seconds ahead overall, but for that segment alone I was actually 0.2 seconds behind my best. And like I said, my my PB for that segment alone is actually really good. So next we're heading into the church. There's a couple things here. So you can get a possible 1 cycle with the priest, where you don't have to wait for the priest to cross the gap. Hopefully I can get it. That's something I have to practice on, but it does save about 10 seconds or so. And then also optimizing movement with the cat, and I'll talk about that once we actually start moving with the cat, once we get to the cat. But yeah, so this first part, you want to head over to the reveal. You want to reveal it, solve it, and then you want to get over to the other side of the room as quickly as possible, because like I said, if you do it quick enough, you can actually catch the priest when he's still on this side of the hands, which will save time, because you don't have to wait like the 10 seconds it takes for him to cross back over. That was actually really slow. Yeah. So if I ran up any further, I'd actually get sucked in to that. And if I died, because like I said, I'm actually kind of crappy at the QTEs, that would suck even more. So like I said, I'm still trying to get consistent at that, but I've done it before. It is possible, and the world record attempt actually does it, where it passes by like across the room so quickly, you can catch them on this side still, because you actually have to be pretty much touching the priest in order to possess them. But you can catch them on that side of the hands there, and it saves about 10 seconds. So for the cat, now there's a couple things to keep in mind. Firstly, this first jump is actually the hardest. I find it really inconsistent. I try to stick, yeah, see, I try to stick as close as the wall as I can, but unfortunately sometimes it just doesn't work. The other thing is, fuck, this is a horrible segment now. The other thing is, you hold shift to run. I screwed it up there, but if you let go of shift just as the cat jumps, and then press down shift once the cat touches the ground, you'll actually skip the animation of climbing up. Whereas if you hold down shift the entire time when you jump, you'll actually see the cat kind of stumble when he jumps on something, and he'll pull himself up. So that's a little optimization that actually helps out a lot there. Really, it doesn't save that much time for one jump, but because you're doing probably about 7 or 8 jumps, it actually saves, say, probably about 2 seconds per jump, maybe 3 seconds. So saves probably about almost 30 seconds, because if it's about 3 seconds per jump, then it's 21 seconds. Fun fact, you can actually soft lock the game here. If you dispossess the cat too quickly, you'll get stuck in the windowsill. I know for a fact, because I've done that before.
How can I get through?
Hiding, there she is. So here you're about to see the first instance of chaining these back to back to back. I always forget that 3 is the first key you have to press. I don't know why, because I've done it so many times now. But yeah, this is what it looks like successfully. So if you're mashing both the skip cutscene button and the next and the option button for what dialogue you want to pick, then you'll just chain cutscene skips, which is actually really quick.
You're not safe alone. You need someone watching.
It's probably the most optimal part in conversating with the people that you'll get. Actually forgot I had to hold left or press left click there. So if you possess the cat and quickly move your mouse, you'll actually turn the cat around, which kind of saves a couple seconds. The only thing that I've done not correctly so far, besides missing the one cycle on the priest, is upstairs. I keep forgetting to cut that room really short when I dispossess the cat, because the trigger for that cutscene happens as soon as you enter that next room. So if you enter that next room the earliest point possible, you'll actually save a couple seconds there. I've probably only lost maybe 2 seconds not doing it. My PB, I didn't do it, so it's not really going to show here. This should PB. Hopefully. I want to do this. This last segment, it's just about skipping the tutorial messages as soon as possible, and then just getting out of here as quick as possible. One more tutorial message. That was actually really bad. So I saved 5.4 seconds there. I should have saved probably about 10 seconds there without the priest skip, but what are you gonna do? We're still up 3 minutes and 30 seconds, so it's alright. I think this next area, I think this option is always consistent. So I think the mouse pointer always starts on the correct answer.
Where'd she go, huh?
Yeah, it does. There's a couple times where that happens, and this is one of the areas. So you can actually just mash it and immediately pretty much just skip the choices there.
She's headed to the police station to steal some book.
Alright, so we're heading to the police station, and this is the first force quit of the game, where I'm actually going to quit out of the game and then reopen the game. And what it's going to do is skip a cutscene. The cutscene takes about a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes. It doesn't seem like it's going to save that much time, but it actually does save a fair bit of time. Again, it all depends on how fast your computer will load up the game. So for me, it probably won't save that much time, but here's the hoping.
Time to head back to the station.
I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning of the run or not, but my goal here is to get sub 1. I would love to beat the world record, obviously, but my ultimate goal is to get sub 1. Once I get sub 1, I'm going to start working on a 100% route, because that was initially what got me wanting to run this game in the first place. Is I wanted to do a 100% speed run of this game, just because that sucks. That actually really sucks. I lost probably about 10 seconds there. So that can happen if you go too quick. You'll actually walk over a small piece of wood and then clip up there, which isn't ideal, obviously. But because of how far ahead I'm going to be, and plus that's not going to, that's not a reason to reset really, but it does really suck. I actually cut that too far. I should have cut that a lot more narrower, but oh well. So right now our movement is pretty much optimized to, if you can teleport without actually teleporting, then you want to. So for example, hide teleporting, possession teleporting, stuff like that. So I'm going to wait until he says strange. As soon as he says strange, I'm going to quit out the game.
Strange.
So again, this is only really fast if you you have a decent computer and it loads up the game quickly. This is still going to be quicker for me to do this than to watch the full cutscene, but I don't know if it's actually as quick for me as it would be for other people. But I am going to save a bunch of time here. So if done correctly, we'll spawn in the war room of the Bell Killer here. And perfect, it worked. So the first thing you want to do is possess that fan. That way it blows off the papers there, and you can just optimize grabbing the other clues as quick as possible. That way by the time you get here, you can actually interact with it at the earliest possible point. So here I want to be careful not to
that info about the missing tenants.
not to dispossess him, because it's actually quicker if you just stay in here. Okay. I have a bad habit of leaving that room before concluding the investigation, which is a huge waste of time because you can only conclude the investigation in that room. So if you're not in that room when you go to conclude the investigation, then you have to go back in the room to conclude it.
Each one of these keys.
So here it's just about optimizing your movements and knowing where Joy stops so that you can interact with her at the fastest possible moment. So first place she stops is here, so I'm going to wait here until she gets here, and then I'm going to mash E. That way I can talk to her as soon as possible. So the first cop that you have to move is that cop right there, and you do so by hitting the photocopier there. The next cop is this one right here, and the earliest possible time you can do it is when you see the icon pop above his figure there. So again, the cop right ahead me is the cop I want to move. As soon as I see the icon, I'm going to hit the button, and that moves him the earliest possible point in time. And then again, I just want to wait here until Joy gets here. I'm going to sit here and mash E. This should be really fast considering. There we go.
Nice job, kid.
And then you want to come up to meet her, but you don't want to go too far up ahead, because if you go too far up ahead, you actually get sucked into the hands here. And she walks down to the bottom of the stairs anyways, so it doesn't actually save any time. The closer up you, it's just, it will definitely lose you time if you go up too far. Especially if you get sucked in by the hands and then you don't, you die. Because that's something I would probably do. So it's that one there and that one there to move them. And then you want to come back here. Ideally, you do want to possess him. That's actually not what I was trying to do, but you know what? It worked.
It's close.
So this one, I don't know why I always get turned around here. Like my camera will be facing one way, but Ronin will be facing the other. And again, this is one of those ones where you want to enter the room as early as possible. So getting over to where the icon of Joy is actually isn't the fastest thing. Also, your mouse pointer will actually start on the right option. So if you just move your mouse slightly to the right and click E, then click the left click, you'll actually get it as soon as possible.
Check that voicemail message.
The phone, you have to wait for it to pop up, so there's nothing you can do to speed that up.
Now we need all the files in that psychic's book in my office now.
Rex was still asking for the books.
So I got to be careful here because there's two options that are very similar, but one's wrong and one's not. So I'm looking for stain, imprinted, and matches gun rack. There's one that says matches body outline that sometimes I'll click on accident, and obviously it wastes time because, like I said, if you click the wrong option, what it does is it will come up red and say it's wrong, and then it takes about 2 seconds. It kicks you out of the interaction, and then you have to go back into the interaction, and it's just a whole hell of a mess. So that possession of the item there, the poltergeist, I think is what it's called, it doesn't happen until the earliest possible moment. So you basically just want to get yourself into a position where you can click it, and then as soon as you can click it is as fast as you can, meaning like that's the earliest possible time, and then you want to wait right here for Joy to come. You actually don't have to wait close to her, which is nice. Again, you want to enter the room as quick as possible here. Skip the cutscene. So I was actually 6 seconds behind on that segment there. Huh. That doesn't seem right. Considering I've never, I don't know about that.
Hey, you can't get away that easy.
If you care
Really?
about the case so much, find your own damn clue.
You won't find your mother without me.
So I guess maybe
What?
maybe for me it's not that one. I had to pay attention there. Maybe for me it's not worth force quitting for, because apparently off my previous segment I'm
Leave now,
0.6
I left
seconds
the
ahead.
station and don't look back.
Alright, listen. Your mom.
Alright. So this next area here is the graveyard. There's not really much you can do to speed the graveyard. Just knowing the fastest movement is pretty much the only thing that you can do to make the graveyard as quick as possible. Once you get teleport, that's when things get interesting. I don't know if it's actually quicker to teleport there or not. So here, this is the cutscene I wanted to skip because it's one of the longer cutscenes in the game. But unfortunately, like I said, watch this cutscene, and at the end you'll see that Ronan actually enters, quote unquote, the cemetery at the end of the cutscene. So it's just not fast to skip it at any other
I'll be
point.
buried here soon. This is home to neither of us. Just a place for others to come and remember what they used to know.
I definitely will probably PB the graveyard shift because I have a new route that I take with my teleports after I get teleport that should be better than what my PB is currently. I just can't believe I didn't gold split jailbreak. There's no way I lost time due to the load-in. I don't know, because I should be up like 4 minutes otherwise. So that's just one of those things where, like I said, having a computer that can open the game quicker is definitely ideal for this.
Another freaky ghost chick is shadowing me.
Which sucks because...
Sorry,
World
it's been
Record
so
does
long,
it.
Julia.
Sorry, I got distracted there. So the cutscene skips are actually, they would be prevalent in 100% just because they only skip the cutscene. There's one major glitch that I'm going to do when I get to the back to church split. And it's not going to be prevalent when I do 100% just because it actually skips certain things that I don't want to skip. Because the back to church glitch skip, it actually... tattered, wash up, deceased. It skips 3 cases, actually. It skips all the cases there and just basically gets you to the trigger for the ending that level, and then you can leave from there.
This thing floated down the river by her body.
I don't know why I'm mashing skip cutscene. There's no cutscene to skip here. Just remember that.
It's too dark in these bushes.
Joy, I need your help getting something out of those bushes.
Okay.
Here you want to be as close as possible so that you can interact with the rope at the earliest possible moment.
Small I can find.
Wait a minute.
So this right here, you'll always start on the right option. Just like that one cutscene with the right after Take Me to Church with the cat. You always start on the right option there. So here you just have to be careful not to click the shovel because it's a clue that you can examine. It wastes probably about 3 to 5 seconds. I got stuck. Surprisingly, it's rare that that demon will see me because usually I'm quick enough to get by him before he sees me and I stay out of his line of sight. I actually got stuck there, so I lost about a second. So I'm surprised he didn't see me, but... that was decent. Gotta be careful you don't actually walk all the way off, because it's possible to do that. Oh, come on, game.
Just hold on, will ya?
That first teleportation segment was okay. Usually my teleports aren't this bad. Oh my god. Okay, so this segment here is going to be a lot faster. Normally I wasn't teleporting through here, which I don't know why, because it's obviously quicker too. Now, in the world record attempt, he actually goes too fast here, and he has to wait for that. So if you kind of wait there for a second, you
Just stop.
you'll ensure that you're not too fast, because apparently it is possible to be too fast there. And here, if you mash E and skip cutscene at the same time, you'll actually chain these cutscenes. So just like the dialogue skipping, if you do that there, you'll skip. Let me focus up here. If you mash E and skip cutscene at the same time, it's pretty quick there. It's the same thing as skipping the dialogue with the character.
It's good that you're okay.
Well, I'm still dead.
This is the only point in the game I don't split my
Yeah, I did.
I don't hit my split button
Don't
at
kill
like
it, John.
a
The girl
screen
will let
transition.
body
That's
float
pretty
down.
obvious.
Mother was
So
right.
normally
These
when I
things about
enter a
targets.
loading zone, I see that white screen. That's when I hit
you
split. Here I actually hit
anything
split
about my mom?
once the screen comes off of
Any resume
Rex,
or something?
Sorry, kid. And it's
because
a
I
good thing we
believe
didn't
that's
see
the
what he did to
point
the
in
girl
which the
this
game
guy. He's sadistic.
loads the next
One weird thing is
loading zone.
He confronted the girl about a contract before he offed her.
Contract? I don't think I've seen anything about a contract. Wait. Another case, possible Bell killer survivor. Iris Campbell. Diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, incoherent ramblings about persecution, and a contract.
Again. And where does it say where she is?
It just says Lux Eterna.
So coming up, commitment issues. That's when we enter the mental
Lux Eterna
hospital,
is a
Lux
mental
Eterna.
hospital.
There's a couple things here. So
Of course it is.
firstly, that's the second force quit that you
Okay,
can use
ready
to
to
skip
go?
a cutscene, a
actually,
story cutscene. Again,
Go on
with
ahead.
same thing with Jailbreak, I wait until the first word gets said, and then I'll skip out or quit out and reload,
meet
just
you
to
at
make
the
it
hospital?
consistent. Because like I said, it's
Worse
always been
nightmare than
consistent for
this.
me like that. That's actually probably why I lost a little bit of time. It probably is a little slower to wait for that. You can do it sooner, but it's not as consistent, in my opinion, because I have quit out too soon before. Secondly, so there's a glitch here that's I don't know how well known it is to the runners of this game, but there's a glitch where after you find out the room number for Iris, you can actually go up ahead without Joy, skip past the hands to get to the loading trigger of the door, and at that point you're supposed to take an alternative path to get by the door. Well, if you skip the hands, you don't need to wait for Joy to get there, which is quick. The problem is when you skip the hands, it doesn't load the next area because the loading point for that is Joy crossing the hands. So Joy actually needs to be a fair bit up before you can skip over it. I don't know exactly where, but unfortunately it's just not faster to do it yet. I am looking into that because I'm positive that there's a way to skip by it. There's also a small optimization where you can skip over running a certain way and actually teleport past some of the hands. Here I always usually screw up. I usually go the wrong way. I start going forward, which isn't correct. You want to go to the right here. And that building actually stops you from teleporting, so you actually have to run through that building. So I saved 24.7 seconds on that last split. And like I said, it's kind of due to the just my overall movement. because I knew I was losing a lot of time at that demon segment. And then also the chaining the cutscene skips, like I said with Sophia there. It's hard to keep track of all the names. Sophia or Rose? No, that's Sophia. Sophia. It's important I keep track of these names too, because there's a part of the case later that requires me to know the name of certain individuals and how they died. So yeah, if you wait for that, you'll always kind of make it to this point. This is another point you want to be careful not to skip this cutscene too quickly, because you actually have to stay here so that you can learn the room number.
Room 216. We gotta find it quick, Joy. She's scheduled for electroshock. All right, kid. Coast is clear.
So now I'm just waiting for Joy to move. There we go. And because I have to wait for Joy here anyways, it's not actually quicker to teleport.
Iris is due for shock.
Now I have found that it's really finicky getting her through this area, so I am going to play it safe and not go as quickly as you can. You can go a little bit quicker than what I'm doing here, but like I said, it's just it's inconsistent, for lack of a better word. So here I wait for seeing Joy stop moving there. Just want to make sure she's going to move. Yeah, okay. So up ahead is what I'm talking about. It is entirely possible to skip past this, but unfortunately you need Joy up here, because if you skip past this, you can kind of see it from here. The next area isn't loaded yet. And the loading point is her, like I said, her getting
Or you can just go on.
past the hands here.
You know what these hands are?
Lost souls, I guess. Just seems like the opposite of moving on.
You'll see it
That
here.
is the opposite of moving
Right there. As soon as Joy gets right there, it loads the next area. Which, if you're paying attention, you could kind of see there. I wanted to make sure I was fluent with that. My movement hasn't been the best there yet. Definitely getting more consistent at it. So I want to focus up for this next part here. Not that it's hard, it's just it's possible to screw it up easy. So there. You can skip those hands and going around if you teleport to the right area. And then here, if you just run up ahead, then you'll get here as soon as possible.
I better find you.
Bell and burned at the stake. It helps if I say the answers aloud. That way I don't forget them and I know where I'm at. This is the worst one to interact with, because the interacting is it's in a weird spot.
Art therapy or something?
No. Blue eyes. Cold as death.
That doesn't really waste any time because I have to do that anyways. It was just...
What does that mean?
Blue eyes.
I don't normally do it that quick.
Eyes. Blue stare.
Because you have to do this one anyways. So, tormented and chased. I almost did that wrong there. So as soon as you do that one, that's the...
Rose saved Iris's life.
So, this is really finicky. If you wait in the room with Joy and Iris, they don't come out immediately. If you run up ahead, they don't come out immediately. So basically, you wait outside the room, and that's when they're going to start moving. And then I keep my camera here so I can see when she stops, because as soon as she stops is when I want to poltergeist this. just to play it safe and know that I'm being consistent. So poltergeist that, poltergeist that. And then I just turn around to make sure that she's about to move. I see her moving. So then I just mash left click so that I can get out of here as early as possible. As soon as she's in range, that will happen. So overall, commitment issues was pretty good.
Coast is clear.
Why do my worst nightmares keep getting way worse?
Okay, let's figure this out.
Thought I would never see.
I'm going to save a lot of time on Back to Church.
what do you know
If I
about
do
this
it correctly the first time, it's going to save
Come on.
minutes.
It doesn't make sense.
So he just asked you if you knew about a contract?
He didn't ask. He wanted us to admit to it. Admit to having a contract with demons.
Demon?
We did nothing to him. He had no reason to go after us the way he did.
The way he did. He drowns one girl and burns another. And where have I seen that stake before?
I believe that's always in the same spot.
That's it.
So I'm just waiting for that. There's that. So look at that. I saved 2 minutes and 43 seconds there because of the cutscene skip and just good movement around and all that. So that was actually pretty good. I didn't think that was actually going to work that way. That was really well. So overall, I'm 6 minutes up, 6.5 minutes up. Now, the only thing I'm not fluently good at yet is this train skip. So it's possible to...
All these murders have
I think the world record skips the train in 2 cycles. I'm not that good, so I'll skip the train in hopefully 4 cycles. It only saves probably about 10 seconds or so, but...
Gather round and bear...
The time is upon us, Abigail Will.
So it wasn't really a form of execution.
Oh, yes.
Still got killed by this.
It's Rose. Rose, 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 Rose. Sophia. Sophia, Sophia, Sophia. Drown, water.
Bell killer used torture devices like this to kill his...
Another instance where if you mash buttons at the same time, you can kind of chain skips. Because I'm not too good at this, this is the route I take. I could have made it up there. So that's what, 2 trains so far. I wait for the next one and then I skip up ahead. So it's a little slow considered, but... So here, for whatever reason, this is the only room where you have trouble teleporting. Like, it doesn't want you to teleport through that room the first time, but then the second time...
Follow me, and then maybe you would have stayed at the church. Just
it's not a problem.
keep an eye out.
I think that was still faster than before. So there's the only time that you actually want to be careful about what you when you're mashing skip cutscene and Q, because If you mash right click when you hit Q, it actually backs you out of there, but it's not too bad. Okay, so Baxter Museum, Baxter hid the book, and Baxter's looking for the girl. There we go. Again, if I say it aloud, it just helps me remember it and make sure I pick the right options. So we're almost done here. The only part I have to do that's left here is just kind of optimizing my movement out of here. Which has been horrendous so far. Save 13 seconds there. It's not bad. I'm still 6 minutes up. So I know of a skip here that will save about...
Why the hurry, boys?
It saves a little bit of time. Let me just say it that way.
Oh, no.
Now, it's a known glitch where you can do this. I don't know if the speedrunning community really knows about it. Basically, you can, instead of having to go all the way around, you can skip by this building. The problem is, if you skip by the building, you skip a loading trigger, which loads the floor for the next area. So it's actually irrelevant to skip the building because, again, you skip by the loading trigger and you would fall to your death. However, I've found the loading trigger, so I think this is going to be quicker, provided the setup is quick and easy for me. So again, you can skip over there, and you just want to come here to hit the loading trigger, and it does save some time, and if you do it correctly and not screw up your teleports and stuff. Yeah, see. So normally if you just skip by that house and then go straight here, none of the ground is loaded. There we go. None of the ground is loaded if you do that, unfortunately. And what happens there is you just fall to your death if you walk over that. But because I go past that building and then I go to the alleyway. The alleyway is the loading cutscene, or is the loading trigger there. So if you touch the alleyway, like just if you teleport into the end of the alleyway, you'll actually, you can see it on my screen where the game stuttered a little bit. That's where it loads the next area. So if you teleport past that building and then teleport to that over there, or if you at least run over there, it loads the next area and then you can keep going. It probably only saves about,
thank God you're okay.
if your teleports are good and perfect, it probably only saves about 3 to 5 seconds. It still saves a little bit of time though. So here is the only major glitch in this run as of right now. You can skip, like I said, pretty much this whole level if you do what I'm about to do correctly. Now I'm still new to it, and it does require me to do a quick time event, so there's a possibility I could screw up and die. However though, this is the only part in the run where dying isn't that bad. You'll lose about 10 seconds or so, but the autosave that you get is actually right at the skip, thankfully. So it makes it easy to practice it for one, because like I said, the autosave is right at the skip. But then two, it just it makes it easier to it makes it less punishing if you don't get it.
I gotta find this crime scene before they cart away all the evidence.
Okay, so the way I found to set this up, I'm gonna do that on purpose to get this ghost away from me. Maybe not. I might die here. I died there. That's really unfortunate. I'm still gonna save time here, but yeah. So like I said, the loading zone is actually right there. That was really bad. So I definitely have to practice this, but... Oh my god, come on, game. It's being finicky right now. I practiced this and got like 4 times in a row, 5 times in a row, 6 times in a row, and I can't even get it once right now. Confirmed patch. This is actually really bad, so I'm losing a lot of time here. It'd probably almost be quicker for me to do it the other way now. That's really unfortunate. Okay. That's not necessarily what's supposed to happen, but we'll take it. So unfortunately those 2 cutscenes chain, but that was what's supposed to happen. So I'm still going to get a good time. I could probably... Judgment House, that one.
That's it. The killer's high.
I lost most of my time save there, which was super unfortunate. Now, not overall, because like overall I'm still ahead, but yeah, like I'm 10 seconds up. So had I got that first attempt, I would actually, like, that segment there probably would have been way better, because the demon chased me into that room, which wasn't the biggest problem. The biggest problem was I didn't get the skip until much later.
Do some ghost thing and get me out of this. Come on.
Trust me.
This is still going to be sub 1, hopefully.
After you.
But
Oh.
yeah.
What
If I want to
happened
even
there?
catch up to that world record, I have to get that skip first attempt.
He didn't suffer.
You're lying.
He died protecting innocent people. That's all you need to know.
Died because of me.
Hey,
I want to do some testing here to find out if you can skip this cutscene.
pleading insanity isn't
I think if you skip this cutscene,
escape.
it would put you back in the
So you can drop
church.
the crazy
But again, I want to
attitude,
try it just to
That's right.
see.
Give her a break.
So if it skips the cutscene and puts you outside the church, then hey. Now that skip that I did on my way to the church,
what I thought.
you actually can't, like, when I skipped, I teleported
Figure out
past
what
the
to do
building,
with
the
you at
ghost
the
building.
station.
You actually can't do that the other way, because the way the camera angle
does this
is
keep
on
happening to
Ronin,
me?
you can't get
Tell
the
them what
angle
we
to
found. They need
teleport
to
on
know
that
it
side,
all.
and if you go to the
gotta
other
find a
side,
way to convince
unfortunately, there's I think it's boxes there or something that you just can't
About
teleport
the ancient
past.
mansion we saw at the museum. Tell Rex about that too. It's probably the killer's place.
Okay, I'll try.
Man, that sucks. I definitely don't think I would have beat world record. I might have caught up to it. Definitely don't think I would have beat it. But there's definitely some things here that kind of screwed me over.
I always heard this place was such an interesting museum back in its heyday. Now it's just a place propped up by rusty nails and rumors.
As long as I don't die here, I'll definitely PB this segment. because in my PB I died here. I might have got turned around too. I can't remember if I did or didn't.
There it is, Judgment House. Huh. Maybe this abandoned place isn't so abandoned after all. I hate it when I'm right.
So this part I'm still trying to get good at, but bad. That was kind of bad. This is bad too. I might die here. Thankfully I didn't.
So, who killed you? What were you doing here? Where's the killer? Do you know where Cassandra is? Is she... Cassandra ever bring up her daughter? Alright, you get back to Cassandra.
Stern, accusing, judging.
You claim righteousness.
I think this is one of the only cases where you have to put it in the correct order when you select the options. Pleading, imprisoned. When you go to solve the case, by the way.
You stood for justice.
You claim righteousness.
Dispatch. Has Rex...
Yeah.
Save 29 seconds there. It's not bad. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to get sub 1 here, which really sucks. Had I got back to church skip first attempt, I would be sub 1. I'd probably be at like 57 minutes. What are you going to do?
No one deserves to be murdered. And when the psycho trying to kill someone pretends there's some grand justice behind it, that just makes it all the more twisted.
I'm definitely going to practice the back to church skip. And I got to find a strat that will get me there consistently where I don't get chased by the ghost. Now the thing is, I could go around and hug the one side and come over to the other. That might be what I do. It might just be faster to do that. Here I want to be extremely careful because I can actually get grabbed there. Scream, scream, scream over there.
Did you use Rex to kill? How could Rex have done?
Why did you kill Baxter? I wasn't close to the...
Time. 1 hour and 58 seconds. My sum of best is 1 hour and 34 seconds. That sucks. I really wanted the sub 1 and I was so close. That sucks. Had I, like I said, had I got back to church skip on my first attempt, I would have saved probably about a minute and a half there. So this would definitely probably have been like a, well, just a minute and a half. I don't know. It's hard to say. I definitely would have saved time there. Would have been sub 1. Apartments, I only lost like 2 seconds there, which sucks. And Jailbreak, for whatever reason, I think I was like, what, 10 seconds up? Or a second up or something like that? It was just preposterous. But in any case, that's my current PB right now. 1 hour, 48 minutes. Or 1 hour, 48 minutes. Oh my god, that's so wrong. 1 hour, 48 seconds, and 16 milliseconds. And that's incorporating everything I currently know. Back to Church was the only skip that wasn't done flawlessly, but everything else was pretty good. Thank you guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.